and I'm going to bring this up at the outset of the interview, and then we'll really dig deep into your history and many of these questions. You know, the human interest part of being a political leader is something that's rarely talked about. You know, there's these things that happen on a leader's watch that are really beyond their control. You know, it's usually Mother Nature or terrorism. I don't want to get dark right out of the gate here, but I mean, you dealt with, there was that big windstorm, I recall, in 2008 that blew through Louisville, that ice storm that knocked out like 1 million Kentuckians, almost 1 million's power for like a week or two in very cold weather. What did that do to you as a leader? How did you get through those times that were really unforeseen? You know?
Yeah, and obviously what you realize very quickly as governor is that you're governor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it never stops.
Mm-hmm.
And I never ask it to stop, but
right,
I mean, it's constant. Mm-hmm. And those things happen any time of the day or night. I mean, the very worst disaster that we had was the ice storm in 2000. That was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 110 of our 120 counties without any kind of electricity, running water, telephone service. I mean, everything was down. I called up the entire National Guard. I had the Adjutant General in, and I said, how many do we have called up? This was in the first 12 hours or so. And he said, I think we've got about 2,500 called up. And I said, how many do we have in all? He said, about 8,500. I said, call them all up.
Yeah, we need every one of them.
And he said, well, what do we? I said, look, if they don't have anything else to do, I want them walking down every street, every neighborhood in this state and knocking on everybody's door and checking on them. Mm-hmm. Because this is a disaster that's bigger than we've ever seen. A funny story came out of it.
Go ahead.
That day, I called the White House, and we needed an emergency disaster declaration.
Sure you did.
And so that FEMA and the Corps of Engineers could bring all of their resources in. And so President Obama and his administration, they had been in office for 10 days. Mm-hmm. You know, they'd gone in on January the 20th. This was like February the 1st or 2nd. And so they said, we'll get right on it. Well, in about 2 hours, they called back. Mm-hmm. My phone rang, and I picked it up, and this lady said, Governor, this is the White House calling. Can you hold for the president? And I said, yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. And I sat there about 30 seconds, and she comes back on the phone. She said, Governor, I said, yes, ma'am. Can you hold for the president? I said, yes, ma'am. 30 more seconds, she comes on and says, Governor, and I heard this voice in the background say, oh, just hand me the phone. And Barack Obama comes on and said, Steve, this is Barack. I just signed your emergency declaration. They were so new they didn't know how to transfer calls at the White House.
Oh my God.
So, you know, you have those kind of things that happen.